My dear students of 10th standard, nowadays we are studying about carbon compounds. Unit 11, carbon and its compounds. So far we have discussed about general characteristics of organic compounds and the classification of organic compounds. Then organic compound based on the kind of atoms, hydrocarbon, characteristics of hydrocarbons. Then how to identify the saturated and unsaturated compounds using the bromine water. Then it is called a homologous series, the general properties of homologous series. Nomenclature means naming the organic compounds. How to name the organic compound based on the system given by the IUPAC. Then next see, now we are going to study about ethanol. Normally, ethanol commonly known as alcohol. Generally, when you're going to talk about alcohol, it refers alcohol. Ethanol refers alcohol. Normally, all the alcoholic beverages contain alcohol. Also, some cough syrups like Benadryl contain certain amount of alcohol, that is in the form of ethanol. See, all the beverages in our task marks also contain alcohol. They are all alcohol beverages, and the formula is C2H5OH. C2H5OH. Also, the expanded form is CH3CH2OH. CH3CH2OH. So, 2 carbon and 6 hydrogen, oxygen. This is the atoms, the element present in the ethanol. I will going to write the structural form. See that CH3CH2OH is expanded. See, first carbon is surrounded by 3 hydrogen. Second carbon is bonded with 2 hydrogen. Then oxygen and hydrogen, that is hydroxyl group. So CH3CH2OH. This is the formula of ethanol. Also we can write in another form C2H5OH. So in the introductory part, you have to know ethanol is commonly called as alcohol, and the alcoholic beverages, cough syrups contain alcohol. General formula is C2H5OH. Molecular formula is C2H5OH. Then next we are going to study about the manufacture of ethanol. This is an important detail. Third detail. This is an important detail. Third detail given in your textbook. Important detail in the examination point of view. It is important. Only few steps are there. Only 4 steps are given in the preparation, the manufacture of ethanol. See, first one, seeing ethanol is manufactured in industries by the fermentation of molasses, which is a byproduct obtained during the manufacture of sugar from sugarcane. So you go to understand these 2-3 lines. If you have textbook, you can open the textbook. Go to page number 163. So ethanol is manufactured industries using fermentation. So what is the basic principle applied? The manufacture of ethanol is fermentation. Fermentation is the basic principle. Fermentation of molasses. What is called molasses? How molasses is obtained? Molasses is one of the byproduct of sugar from sugarcane. See, in the sugar factory, the sugar canes are cut into pieces and crushed into juice, and the juice is converted into crystals of sugar. So the some sort of sugar juice is unconverted, not able to turn to crystal form of sugar. That is taken for the manufacture of ethanol. That is called sugar molasses. So 2 things you have to understand and underline. The basic principle is fermentation, and the raw material is sugar molasses. Raw material is sugar molasses. So you have to know what is called fermentation. This is the basic principle applied in the manufacture of ethanol. What is called fermentation? Fermentation is a simple one. Easily you can understand. It is nothing but that converting the complex organic molecule into simpler molecule. Converting complex organic molecule into simpler molecule by the action of enzyme. By the action of enzyme. Example that converting milk into sour milk, the curdling of milk. So here also you can understand in simple form there is a macromolecule into micromolecule. Macro means a big complex molecules is converted into simple form of molecules with the help of enzyme, with the action of enzyme. That is called fermentation. So that is the basic principle applied in the manufacture of ethanol. Fermentation is the basic principle. Raw material is sugar molasses. Next to see what is called sugar molasses. Another one, simple one. Sugar molasses is a dark colored syrupy liquid left after the crystallization of sugar from the concentrated sugarcane juice. So molasses is dark colored syrupy liquid left after the crystallization of sugar from the concentrated sugarcane juice. So I already told in the sugar factory that sugar canes are cut into pieces and crushed into juice. Actually that is going to be very black in color because of uh, uh, the dust particles, because of the unwanted material. See, this is going to be the color is going to be removed by the addition of calcium, like that, which is going to be decolorized. So here some sort of the sugar juice is unconverted, not able to turn to sugar. So that is taken for the manufacture of ethanol. So it is going to be a dark colored syrupy liquid left after the crystallization of sugar from the sugar juice. This is called sugar molasses. So what is the sugar percentage of sugar molasses? 30 percentage of sucrose may be there in the sugar molasses. 30 percentage of sugar molasses which cannot be converted into a crystal form of sugar. So this is taken for the manufacture of ethanol. And see, there are 4 steps. First step is dilution. Dilution means addition of excess of water. Simply you have to understand. First step is dilution of molasses. The sugar molasses which contain 30 percentage of sucrose is decreased in its sucrose level by the addition of excess of water. That concentration of sugar is decreased to 8 to 10%. So concentration is reduced. How concentration is reduced? By the addition of water. So that is called dilution. Then second step, see, addition of nitrogen sources. So molasses usually contain enough nitrogenous matter to act as food for yeast during the fermentation process. So for the fermentation process, the nitrogenous matter which act as food for yeast. So the yeast absorb the nitrogen matter which is food for yeast. From that it going to activate the fermentation process. Suppose the sugar juice, the sugar molasses which is not contain enough nitrogenous matter, externally the nitrogen source is added like ammonium sulfate or in the form of ammonium phosphate. Ammonium phosphates. Actually see that sugar cane which is cultivated from the soil contain nitrogen matter. So the nitrogenous matter is actually there, but it is not in sufficient level, sufficient percentage. Then we have to fortify the sugar molasses by the external addition of ammonium sulfate or ammonium phosphate. Ammonium contain nitrogen. That ammonium phosphate, ammonium contain nitrogen. So the external addition of ammonium sulfate, ammonium phosphate, which act as food for yeast during the fermentation process. So simply you have to understand addition of nitrogen source means if that sugar molasses is not contain sufficient amount of nitrogen, external addition of ammonium sulfate, ammonium phosphate is used. This you can underline. Then addition of yeast. So third step, see, the sugar molasses obtained from the step 2 is taken in the large iron tank that is called fermentation tank. Fermentation tank. Here, this sugar molasses is taken in the fermentation tank and yeast is added. Yeast is added, and the temperature is maintained about 303 Kelvin, 303 Kelvin for few days, 4 days, 5 days, or 1 week. It is taken for the fermentation process, for the conversion of complex molecule into simpler molecule. So during this period, enzymes invertase and zymase present the yeast bring about the conversion of sucrose into ethanol. So actually that yeast contain three enzymes, that is invertase, zymase, maltase. Invertase, zymase, maltase. These are the three enzymes present in the yeast. Out of these three, that invertase, zymase act here to convert sugar molasses into ethyl alcohol, ethanol. See, first step, see, the invertase, which is convert sugar into the sucrose into glucose and fructose. So formula is given, see, the sugar cane, that is sugar molasses. It is given sugar, that is sugar molasses. Formula C12H22O11, that is 12 carbon, 22 hydrogen, and 11 oxygen. 11 oxygen. What is given here? See, it's contain only carbon and hydrogen, oxygen. Actually, in the sugar molasses, only carbon and water is there. Carbon and water. So plus H2O means in the dilution process we add excess of water. The enzyme invertase is act during the fermentation process and which convert complex sugar molasses into glucose and fructose. Glucose formula C6H12O6 and fructose also having same formula C6H12O6. So glucose is simple form of sugar. Simple form of sugar compared to the sugar molasses. Then in the second step of chemical reaction, this glucose or fructose is converted into ethanol in presence of the enzyme zymase. Zymase, that is C6H12O6 glucose or fructose, which is turned to ethanol or ethyl alcohol. Ethanol is IUPAC name, ethyl alcohol is common name. So formula C2H5OH. So 2 moles of ethanol and 2 moles of carbon dioxide is formed. 2 moles of ethanol, 2 moles of carbon dioxide. So in the addition of yeast, that two enzymes act upon invertase convert sugar molasses into glucose and fructose. Zymase convert glucose or fructose into ethanol and carbon dioxide. These are the two chemical reaction take place in the fermentation tanks when the temperature is about 303 Kelvin. Then that ethanol obtained, the ethyl alcohol obtained from this step, from this process is called a wash. It is called a wash because it contains only less percentage of alcohol. It is 15 to 18. So fourth step, distillation of wash. Wash is nothing but it contain 15 to 18% of alcohol. Only the concentration is very low. So now it is going to be subjected to fractional distillation. So the continuous fractional distillation, the main fraction drawn in aqueous solution of ethanol, which contain 95.5% ethanol and 4.5% water, this is called rectified spirit. So after the fractional distillation, we get a type of mixture which is called rectified spirit. Rectified spirit. Sometimes you will be asked what is the composition of rectified spirit. Rectified spirit means which is contain 95.5% of ethanol and 4.5% of water. Rectified spirit means 95.5% of ethanol and 4.5% of water. So in the uh, third stage, in the fermentation stage, see, we get wash that contain only less concentrated of alcohol, 15 to 18, and fractional distillation gives rectified spirit which contain 95.5% ethanol, 4.5% water. Then still it is not absolute alcohol, it is not 100% alcohol. So we have to do go for one more step, that is reflux to our quicklime. The calcium oxide reflux over quicklime for about 5 to 6 hours. That reflux quicklime, what will take place? The quicklime going to absorb the moisture, absorb the water pressure in the rectified spirit. The rectified spirit contains 4.5% of water. The 4.5% of water also going to be absorbed by quicklime. So which is allowed for 5 to 6 hours and stand for 12 hours. So all the water molecules are absorbed and again it is going to be distillated. Distillation. Distillation means heating and condensing to get alcohol. So distillation give pure 100% alcohol. That is called absolute alcohol. That is called absolute alcohol. So rectified spirit 95.5% of ethanol, 4.5% of water. Then reflux over quicklime give 100% also by the continuous distillation. Reflux over quicklime 5 to 6 hours and stand for 12 hours. Then distillation give pure 100% alcohol, which is called absolute alcohol. Which is called absolute alcohol. So my dear student, this is a simple topic that the manufacture of ethanol. You have to know what is the molecular formula, C2H5OH, and basic principle is fermentation. What is called fermentation? There is a definition also given here. See, yeast and ferment. Yeast are single-celled microorganism belonging to the class of fungi. So it is a type of single-cell microorganism. So this single-cell microorganism contain enzymes like invertase, zymase, maltase. So the enzymes present in yeast catalyze many complex organic reactions. So catalyst means what? Which is going to enhance, which is going to alter the rate of a chemical reaction. Alter the rate of a chemical reaction. Here see, the yeast, the enzyme present the yeast act as catalyst to convert complex sugar molasses into simpler alcohol. Next, see, what is fermentation? Definition is given. Fermentation is conversion of complex organic molecule into simpler molecule by the action of enzyme. So curdling of milk, the turning of milk into sour milk. Milk into sour milk. That is also by the action of enzyme. Basic principle is fermentation. Basic principle is fermentation. So here, so fermentation is the converting complex into simpler. Molasses is the raw material. Molasses contain 30% of sucrose. So in the dilution process, 30% of sucrose is reduced to 8 to 10% of sucrose by the addition of excess of water. Then addition of nitrogen sources. If the nitrogen sources is not sufficient and the sugar molasses is fortified by the addition of ammonium sulfate or ammonium phosphate, then it is taken in the fermentation tank. Temperature is 303 Kelvin and yeast is added and invertase convert sugar molasses into glucose and fructose. Zymase convert glucose to ethanol and carbon dioxide. The alcohol is called wash because it contains only 15 to 18% of alcohol. Then it is subjected to fractional distillation, which give rectified spirit 95.5% of ethanol and 4.5% of water. Then reflux over quicklime for 5 to 6 and stand for 12 hours and the continuous distillation give pure absolute 100% alcohol. So up to this you have to write answer for this question. Question will be asked what is fermentation? Sometimes it will be asked like this: what is fermentation? Explain the manufacture of ethanol from sugar molasses, or explain the manufacture of ethanol. So you have to start right from the manufacture of ethanol and all the four steps up to this is called absolute alcohol to absolute alcohol. And separately sometime asked what is yeast, what are the enzymes present in yeast, what is called fermentation. So you have to go through up to this only simple topic, and now we discussed only simple topic, only few steps. So you go through, write both the equation, write in simple equation converting sugar molasses into glucose and fructose, then glucose and fructose into alcohol and carbon dioxide. You have to write in practice and don't waste the time. Prepare well. Important question will be asked in the examination point of view. Prepare well. God bless you. Thank you.